Yeah, so if someone told me, 15 years ago that I would be a mom of four and, living in Sault Ste. Marie and making a living off of art, I would not have believed them. No way. My name is Amy Williams, and I am a wife, mother, and artist living and working in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. And this is my basement home studio, which I share with my laundry machine, and I couldn't be happier to be working from home. So this is on Lake Superior. This is a spot from the coastal trail that showcases a lot of the smooth stones that are found on the coast of Lake Superior. Yeah, so what I've done is from a photo, I've taken the composition of the land, and I have basically used that. I won't be following the natural colors, and yeah, this is basically how I start all my paintings. And it might not be conventional in the fact that my canvas is still white underneath, but I paint in acrylics and I paint in so many layers that it will all get covered up. So I start with, I always start with the foreground. So the stuff that is on top. So the trees are on top of the sky. So I usually start with the trees so that I get all the branches and everything, and I don't confuse the lines in the background. And a lot of this is probably going to get covered up again, but at the end I go back over all these black lines. Country lanes and coastal plains, endless views that we're passing through. Like they often say with authors, you need to write what you know. And I think as an artist, it's exactly the same. You need to paint where you are, find the beauty in where you are, because you'll never run out of inspiration if you can look out the window and see the things that inspire you to paint. That's not saying I wouldn't really love to try painting palm trees one day, but this is where you are. This is where I am. This is where I camp, where I spend a lot of time with my family, with my kids. It's hard to not be inspired by Algoma and the landscapes of Lake Superior. The group of 7 painted here, and I mean, there's no question why they decided to come up here and paint. And some of their most well-known pieces are from Algoma, and it's pretty cool to know that and feel the same kind of inspiration as they did. I used to host art shows in my room. I would come up with a little gallery of work and have cheap prices on them, and my grandparents would come through and they would buy my art. And very recently, actually, my 98-year-old grandmother passed away, and my mom was going through some of her stuff, and she found numerous pieces that she had purchased from me when I was a kid, and she gave them back to me, which was really cute. There's one right there. It's just a drawing of some lady I named Shelley. Art as a kid was, it was a way of life for me. And music, I grew up playing the violin. I played in orchestra. So very artistic endeavors from a young age. I went to Georgian College right out of high school for that 1-year art fundamentals program. And it was a number of things that that turned me away from it after I was completed. And I think some of it was just immaturity, like really not getting good marks, but not really putting much of an effort in. And I remember one of my teachers saying, Amy, like if you actually applied yourself a little bit better, um, you could really accomplish a lot. And I remember putting a big effort into one of the pieces after she had said that to me. And it was a great piece. I got great marks, but I don't know. I was like, this is silly. Why am I getting graded on my art? And I don't know. I just got really turned off from it all. Um, but hey, I'm also a firm believer that everything happens for a reason. And the path that I ended up taking is the path that I was supposed to take, and I ended up where I was supposed to end up. With the people and in the time, and yeah. So I can't say that I regret that choice of not pursuing art um, after that 1 year. Certainly, there's a lot to be said about growing up and maturing and realizing, hey, I can still do that. I decided to pursue a secondary education in English literature, and I um, graduated from that, and that led me to apply to Teachers College. And I attended Teachers College at York University, the Barrie campus. And after that, I mean, I couldn't get a teaching job in Canada, so I moved to the UK and truly had some of the best years of my life living in London, England. I met my husband there, who is from New Brunswick, and he was doing exactly the same thing. Um, couldn't get a job in Canada, so he moved there, and then we did lots of traveling. Easy hop over to Europe. Either a Ryanair flight or a Eurostar over to France. So we really enjoyed some European travel from London, and then we moved to Qatar, the Middle East. My husband was growing quite tired of the busyness of London, so we thought let's go to the heat, let's go to the desert, make some money, and so we lived in Qatar, and we taught at an international school there, and I wasn't teaching art; I was teaching phys ed. So because I had a very sporty resume, they told me. I am not qualified to teach PE whatsoever, but I have experience lifeguarding and teaching swimming lessons. So that is a lot of what I did there. I actually really enjoyed it. And then from there we decided to try China, and we moved to Beijing, and we taught at the Canadian International School of Beijing, and that's where I taught kindergarten. And yeah, I really did enjoy that. And my husband was teaching, I don't even know what he was teaching actually, history, I think. And then we got pregnant, and so we really had to decide, do we want to have a baby in China? We knew lots of people who had, but something was pulling us back home, and I really don't know what that was. Fear, probably. So we decided to come back to Canada and have our first baby in New Brunswick. And so she was born in the summer of 2013. And so I'm pretty much nearly finished doing the outline here. As soon as I finish the outline, I will use up the rest of the black paint on the sides. I don't ever like to waste paint, so even though that is typically a step I do last, I will use up that paint on the sides of the painting. At this stage, I am happy with how the composition has turned out, and after I get the black on the side, then everything should be dry everywhere else, and I should be able to go in with color. Okay, so this is sort of the color I'm going for. So the rocks in the foreground are going to be the most vibrant. So, like I said, I paint in layers, right? So the first layer, I'm just kind of deciding, I'm color blocking, I'm deciding what colors are going where. And then the second layer is kind of where I decide what the value that rock is going to have. So that means it's how light or how dark or how bright it's going to be. So right now, I'm just going to choose all the bluish gray color, whichever rocks are going to be that color. I'm going to do that sort of all at once. And then I'm going to be adding on the second layer details and deciding its final value. Yeah, so in 2020, when the pandemic hit, everybody's feeling pretty, pretty isolated, pretty alone. And our downtown businesses everybody's struggling, right? So one day during a lockdown, I said, I want to go for a walk. I'm going to head downtown, and I just want to take some pictures of some of our buildings downtown. I've always loved our downtown. I think there's a lot of, you have to look hard, but there's some really cool architecture. Some of these buildings are really interesting. And so I wanted to sketch them. I wanted to, maybe put some paint to paper. I had a little watercolor kit from way back when. And I thought, maybe I could try to bolster some pride and enthusiasm for our downtown and just do some little illustrations. I did maybe about 6 or so. And then I posted them. On local Facebook page, and it was crazy. The response was crazy. It was immediate. Wow, could you do my business? Could you do my house? And it was like, okay, straight away I have a job. The next couple months were actually really, really crazy. I've been painting lots of houses and lots of businesses by this point, towards June, and this is when the shoe memorial went up on the stairs of Oklahoma University to honor the residential school kids that had died in Kelowna, where they found that mass grave. And that is, it was really quite a touching thing. So I had brought our kids to go see, and I took some photos while I was there. And then I decided to paint it. This is where things kind of went a little bit crazy. So I painted it like I had been painting lots of other buildings. This was just shoes and the steps up to Oklahoma University. And again, I posted on social media, but I posted it as a tribute, not for any other reason, just as a mother and a human, and it kind of locally went quite, I don't want to say viral, but yeah, like locally it was crazy. And I had people wanting to buy it, and I thought, oh my gosh, no, I am not going to sell this piece or try to make any kind of money from this. But then I sort of had a moment, and I thought, okay, no, maybe why don't I try to raise some money from this? And so I made prints, and it was crazy. People were donating money for a print, and I ended up donating all the money to the Shinwalk Residential School Center. And it raised thousands. And then Algoma Steel reached out and asked me to do some projects, and a really big project in a really short amount of time. And then within a week, that project was presented to Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. So things happened really quickly. And it was pretty cool. So I wanted to try something with a little more creativity, more color, and I loved the idea of stained glass. And I watched a YouTube clip on it, and that was enough to sway me away from it. And so I decided, how can I sort of replicate stained glass without making stained glass? And so I decided to try painting with the black lines and the bold, bright colors. But I wanted to stay painting something local, something that would resonate with people. And so I thought, okay, what's more local than the Agua Tour train? What do people know Sault Ste. Marie for? And so I decided that was going to be my first painting in this style. And I planned it out on a canvas, super basic, and I just was very intuitive about it. It was an experiment, really, and I never expected it to turn out as well as it did, and it to be received as well as it was received. And then after it was, I thought, okay, I'm gonna paint as many local things as I can in this style and see what happens. And it didn't really matter what it was. It resonated with somebody. And that was always my goal, to reach different audiences, but all people who live or have traveled and appreciate the Sault Ste. Marie area. Depending on the colors in the rest of the piece, if I have something that is really colorful, like I do with the rocks here, then the water, I tend to pick one base color, and then add white to it, and then gradually to show depth, I gradually just add a little bit of that color to white, and then add more and more of that color as I move away from the land. So what I'm going to do with the sky is I'm going to pull some of these colors, and I'm going to start with, when you look at the sky, the lighter part is on the horizon. So I'm going to start with a super light pink, and I'm going to use a little bit of pinks and yellows, and then I'm going to fade into some blues. Back in 2016, when our triplets were born prematurely, we really did our best to be as positive as we could. We're not necessarily religious people, but we believe in God, and we believe that He's got it under control. And if He is going to give me 3 babies, then my God, He trusts me, to be their mom. And so the phrase "let go and let God" was kind of how we got through that first year. Is just saying, you know what, I am doing everything that I can in my power, but I have to trust the doctors and the nurses, and I have to trust that a higher power is also doing their part. So there is nothing more I can do. And if I continue to worry sick, like that, that when you have 3 babies born 3 months early, that you're going to lose them, not one, not two, but all, like you have to give it to God, right? So that's kind of what we did. We're like, you know what? We are doing everything that we can, and we are going in every single day with a positive attitude. And I really think that, that helped us get through it. Absolutely. And then, but it was a very difficult time. Very difficult time. We would get calls in the middle of the night from the hospital saying, this is what happened to this baby, and we're not sure he's going to make it through the night. How many calls we got like that? They just kind of became normal. And, when we finally did come out on the other side of it, we thought, oh my God, like our babies are alive. They're thriving. They're going to be okay. Like, it took a long time for our littlest guy, for us to finally feel that, probably about 3 years actually, for us to finally feel like, okay, I think we might be out of the woods. So yeah, I think that really plays a big part in why I paint not necessarily what I paint, but the colors that I choose. That the happy, joyful colors and paintings, because like I've already, I've been through it. We've been in the trenches. We've said goodbye to our infant babies, not just one, but all 3, more than once. And I think once you go through something like that, your perspective changes completely. And the phrase, don't sweat the small stuff, well, that kind of becomes your motto, your life motto, because if they're not dying, then everything is the small stuff. And it truly was. So yeah, that is a big part of why you're only going to find joy in my paintings. So going forward, I feel like, I don't know, this whole time I felt like surely I'm going to fail at any moment and everything is going to fall apart. That imposter syndrome, is quite a real thing, and I know a lot of artists feel it. But yeah, that's really the goal, is to just keep being able to do this and having more opportunities. I've really enjoyed the opportunities that I've had, going to New York City and coming up, going to Paris, because you can't just, in my opinion, you can't just stay in one city, in one place, because I feel like, the world is such a big place, and I don't know, I'm always feeling like I'm going to saturate this market, like, oh, this person bought a piece from me, that's awesome. Do I expect them to buy 5 more in the future? No. Like, how many people out there can buy original art? That's not a necessity for a lot of people. Art World Fair in Paris is happening in May, and yeah, I'm gonna go and I'll attend the opening. But because I'm represented by a gallery there, I don't actually have to be around. It might help to sell if I am there, but at the same time, I'm going on vacation with my sister, and some friends are coming as well. So I think it'll just be a really awesome experience to see my work hanging in Paris, at the Paris Expo. it's such a huge venue and a massive show, and it's really cool just to say, hey, you participated in that. It's really awesome. Well, I had a solo show. I've had 2 solo shows. One at the Art Hub and the other in Blind River. And the one in Blind River was so successful, I was shocked. Absolutely shocked. It was really excellent. And then the one at the Art Hub was also very good. That was about 2 years ago now. It was great. It was a really good first experience, like a really good introduction, I suppose. And then I've done a couple group shows. And then the New York show, and that one was a big learning curve for sure. I met some really awesome people, some really awesome artists, and yeah, I made some sales too. Yeah, a lot of really cool opportunities came from it, and yeah, it's a really unique opportunity for artists who don't have that representation. So all I have to do, I have to paint those tree trunks, and then finish like tidying up the black outlines, and then add a little bit of detail to the branches, and then some highlights on the rocks. So we're getting into just paint pen details coming up here really soon, which is a lot of fun. And yeah, nearly there. Actually, sometimes I get to this point in the painting and I'm like, ha, I'm done. But then I'm like, no, I'm really not done. I'm not done at all. So the paint pen, my bushes, I like to do little circles on them so they look like bushy. And outline the trees as they're all dry. Yeah. So anywhere that might be a little bit uneven, and then I'll let go. And so all my bushes here are gonna have those. I think staying true to yourself and your passions, and finding a niche that works for you. Art speaks to different people. Like, not everybody likes mine. Definitely not everybody. Somebody looked at it once and was like, ugh, too psychedelic. And I was like, okay, that's fine. But too psychedelic for somebody might be, somebody else's cup of tea. So stay true to what you want to paint, because you will find your people. If you are on social media and you make yourself present, people will find you. I think the worst thing an artist can do is hide themselves away, hide their work away. So get it out there. Even if you don't think it's good enough, you have to keep trying, keep practicing. With each art piece, you're going to get better and better. And yeah. Yeah, so if someone told me, 15 years ago that I would be a mom of 4 and, living in Sault Ste. Marie and making a living off of art, I would not have believed them. No way. Here I am. I'm very grateful that this is what I get to do every day, and that I can work from home, and I can take my kid to the doctor's appointments without having to book work off. And if I didn't get this done, or I didn't get another piece done, when the kids go to bed, I could easily just work on it and finish it up I'm really grateful. Really grateful to be where I am and to be doing what I'm doing. And thank you for this opportunity, Konrad, to do a little deep dive in my life and my art. I'll just sit and decide if those lines really matter. Yeah, if in a month I add lines, please don't be upset with me.
I won't. No, you can do whatever you want on this. I don't care.
But we'll say it's done for your